For a rough ride along the boards, and there's no question that he's one of their outstanding players, and you have to pay close attention to him whenever he's on the ice.
Canada still a man short. Soviets at full strength. So they didn't play two men short for very long. Puck goes loose to one side. Pat Stapleton shot it around on the boards out to center ice. Agankov cleared it back to Mihailov over on the left side. A slider goes to Mihailov. He's knocked over. The pass comes to Agankov to Harlamov. Checked by Stapleton. Another try for Harlamov. Clearing it on the wing. Here's a shot by Lecheko that hit a skate. Canada recover and break out to center ice. Pete Mahovlich was hooked on the play. Cleared over on the right wing. Stapleton breaks it up. Peter Mahovlich goes over on the far side. Got it out and was knocked down. 7:38 left in the second period. Canada leading 3-1. As Barnoyer tried to come down that right side, and the puck went hopping over the boards into the crowd.
Foster, I've never seen checking as tough as what's going on out there right now. They're both giving and taking it. I saw Harlamov skate into the center. Peter Mahovlich decked him with an elbow that I've never seen. And then right after that, Harlamov came right back and knocked Mahovlich down. They're both giving it and taking it, and it's tough out on that ice.
You can hear the Canadian rooters really whooping it up. Puck goes to Lecheko. Over on this right side to Volskov. He's at center ice. Weaving Yakushev goes over the line from the corner. Goes back to the net. Centered in front. It goes to the blue line. A long shot is wide. Soviets still putting the pressure on. Dennis Hall failed to cover his man. Finally cleared it on the side. Shoved around a bit. Liapkin goes in to clear it back to the net. Yakushev is watched by Savard. Dragged on the boards. Three Canadians break out at center ice. Rochelle over to Dennis Hall, and it's called on the outside. And the Canadian bench goes wild on that call. But they're really upset. And but the players are going right ahead as if nothing happened.
Well, Foster, there's absolutely no way that could have been offside because Jean Rattel was 10 feet over the blue line before he made the pass, and it was after he made the pass that he called Dennis Hall offside.
The puck slides to center ice, knocked against the boards. Lecheko failed to get very far. He had a hold of Rattel as he was stopped. Liapkin at the Soviet blue line, pass to Yakushev. He's the dangerous player. Passing on the wing. Here's the shot right on, and Dryden covered up on Volskov's hard drive that was low, and he went down on his knees to cover. More changes.
Keep an eye on the Soviet players when they do come in. Volkov had no idea where the puck was. It came up into his feet, but they are so adept with their feet that he brought the puck right up to his stick, and then got a good shot on Ken Dryden, who came up with a big save.
Canada leading 3-1. 6:25 left in the second period. They've shown no sign of weakening under the terrific pressure and hard-hitting. Savard lobbed one back to the Soviet blue line. It's cleared right up the kid line out there. Anderson going in, weaving a bit, centered it, and it's deflected out to center ice. This is that Anderson-Lebedev-Vodnov line. Cleared pass over on the right side to Lebedev. Intercepted. Barnoyer pass to Phil Esposito, who missed it. It's cleared around back of the goal. Slides back to the net. Vasiliev cleared it out, and Bergman got back and hit the referee. Phil Esposito covered up, getting it over to Bergman. Bergman going slowly. Lobbed it to center ice. Now it's up over the line. Parisi passed behind him, and Barnoyer had to go back and get it. Barnoyer passed it over the line. It deflected. Recovered by the Soviets with a long pass by Shatilov. Knocked down. Shatilov hasn't seen a great deal of action. A pass to Parisi on this left wing. He fights for it, clearing it around into the corner. It's still in there. Parisi tried to pin his man against the board. Bill Esposito made sure he did, and that ended the play. That was Esposito that put the finishing touches on that play. And the reserves keep coming out with 4:52 left in the second period. Canada leading 3-1, scoring 3 fast goals in about a minute and 15 seconds approximately. That came after the Soviets had opened the scoring at 2:12, Lyapkin from Yakushev. Dennis Hull, Cornwallier, and Henderson scoring for Canada in this second period. Puck is out to the Soviet blue line and center ice. Had Stapleton cleared it back. Zagankov shot it, and Bill White blocked it. Red Berenson, 15. Weaving, shot it over the line. Goes back to the net, into the corner, and he was bumped into the boards. Red Berenson tried to get it to Henderson after Ellis had bumped his man. The Soviets come down the right wing. Baltsev closing in, a shot, and it bounced off Dryden and went wide of the corner of the net. Zagankov fed it into the corner. They're trying to pass it over onto that far side. Ellis is there to tap it out to Red Berenson. One man's back with Henderson. The shot is right on. Tretjak, way out of the net, covered that. Henderson failed to cover his man. Soviets break out to the blue line. Moksev cleared on the right side. Harlamov trying to come in. Was stopped. Goes back to the blue line. A shot. And it dribbled off the leg wide. Bill White coming from the side. Lobbed it over onto the right wing. Ragulin stopped it. And Mikulov is in possession. Number 18. Mikulov took a high dive. And the referee didn't pay any attention. Puck is shot into the corner. The Canadians and the Soviets start changing on the go. 3:20 left in the second period. 3-1 for Canada. Rattel out there with Dennis Hull. And a pass over on this right side. Volskov was partially stopped by Stapleton and dragged down. Zagankov is forced into the corner. The Canadians keep going. Here's a penalty for slashing. And Dennis Hull is going to get the call. Dennis Hull off for slashing. And the Canadians are still walking into penalties. Dennis Hull was slashing on that play. And it's 17:02. And 17:08, I believe it is. I'm trying to tell why this clock.
Dennis Hull, number 10, Team Canada, 2-minute penalty for slashing.
17:02, I think it is.
With Bobby Clarkoff now, Canada will have to, and Dennis Hull. Clark, of course, they're not a man short with Clarkoff, but there's 2 minutes and 58 seconds left to go in this period, Foster, and Team Canada now will be under a tremendous amount of pressure from the Soviets because they'll want to get back in this game before this period's over.
And they face off. Here's a shot deflected. Yakushev recovers. They're getting that pattern play right in front of the goal. They're getting scored! It gets right in there. Looks like Yakushev did the trick. Yakushev puts the Soviet within 1 goal of Canada by coming in front of the net and scoring on that play with the help of Shadron.
That's what happens when you get a penalty against them. They are great opportunists. They came right in off the face-off. They established quick control, and they got one good scoring chance, and they made sure. Partial deflection by Gary Bergman. It went up over his shoulder. Dryden didn't have much of a chance on it because he had already gone down, and it went up into the top of the net.
Goal scored by Alexander Yakushev, number 15. Assist by Timber Sadri, number 19.
Yeah, it's Yakushev from Shadron, making it 3-2 now for Canada. A pass on the left side was offside, and the Canadian bench nearly goes crazy on that call. They're certainly doing some funny work out there, these officials on the offside.
Foster, again, I can only emphasize that Team Canada has to relax. They have to stop worrying about it, because I can assure them it's not going to change by talking to the referee, and all you're going to do is spend a lot of energy for nothing. Now, John Ferguson's down there. He's getting in the act with Mr. Kampala, and really, they're going to get themselves into more trouble by making a scene about it than they are if they just ignored it, go out there and play good hockey, because Team Canada, they've got the game well in control, and if they play their game, they're going to win it.
Canada leading 3-2. Puck is shot into the corner. It's still loose. Cornwallis tried to kick it back to the goal. The Soviet trying to get out, failed when Phil Esposito stopped his man. Mihailov shoots it off and into the corner. Ragulin clears it. Now it looks like a bench penalty. Henderson was yelling at the referee, whatever it was. He obviously said something, and this game is building up. I hope there are no incidents in this game, but they're certainly threatening. It was Henderson, the assistant coach, that will likely result in a bench penalty.
Well, I can say there that as we saw Ragulin is cut now under his right eye, there's John Ferguson, who stood up on many times, and he was mouthing off at the referee, and it's going to cost Canada with a bench penalty. But Ragulin now, there might be a 5-minute penalty or a major penalty to Phil Esposito. He had Ragulin all lined up in the end. Ragulin saw the check coming at the last moment. He decked Esposito, but Esposito had his stick way up, and he's going to be gone, I'm sure, for 5 minutes on a major penalty for cutting Alexander Ragulin. And there's a very disgusted Phil Esposito, but Esposito walked right into that penalty, Foster. He's got no one to blame but himself. And the very shrill whistles that just ring in this rink, they just about feel like someone's driving a nail into your head.
Ragulin is being patched up on the bench, and about 5 of them are working on him as if he had really been given the work.
If Canada loses their composure right here, they could blow the whole game with 2 minutes and 14 seconds to go in the second period. They are winning 3-2, and if they lose their professional composure right here, they could get themselves in trouble they just might not be able to get out of. They have to play it cool. We start off, Foster, with a bench liner.
Canada, 2 minutes bench penalty. Philip Luzito, Team Canada, number 7, 5-minute penalty for high sticking.
Esposito, 5 minutes for high sticking, and they also received a bench penalty for John Henderson's blast from the board. That came first, and then at the same time, the altercation with Phil Esposito and Ragulin occurred on the other side. It was almost instantaneous.
There's no way you're going to win with the referee, and the best thing to do is just to stay away from them as much as you can, because they're not going to get a break if they try to intimidate the referee, as John Ferguson tried to do there. He was mouthing off at the referee, and he just turned around and gave Canada a 2-minute penalty, and all that's going to do is hurt Team Canada. They have to get out of this period with this goal lead, and they're going to have to collect their composure if they intend to do it.
Canada is leading 3-2. And these calls are really getting the go to the Canadian team. Dryden is going back into the net. So these will be hectic minutes, closing minutes. 2:14 left in the second period. Petrov and Mihailov, who haven't seen much action, are out there for the Soviet. They have a full team. Canada 2 men short. Peter Mahovny's got the draw back to Park. Park carries it to his own line. It's offside in there, but they finally called it. And the Canadian rooters set up a real howl there of jubilation when he called the offside.
The Canadians are certainly standing in behind the team because the Russians, there's many more of them here, and they're yelling, "Shy boo, shy boo."
From the face-off, Peter Mahovlich recovered and shot it down the ice. Lyapkin is going back to get it for the Soviets. Mihailov turns with them. Lyapkin over to Mihailov on that left wing. Mihailov at center. Over the line, a two-man advantage for the Soviet. A shot goes back to the net. Petrov, 16, working from the corner. Pass to the blue line to Lechko. Another pass over on the far wing. A pass in front is knocked to the side. Lyapkin has it. Cleared it over to Lechko. Lechko faked the shot. Passed it to the wing. End to the side. A shot right in front. And it hit the side of the net. Shot had gone in the goal, but it hit the side. And that the Soviets are claiming it went in the net, but not much question it hit the outside.
Tremendous amount of pressure here from the Soviets. You see Harlamov parked right on Dryden's doorstep. Good puck control by the Soviets. Harlamov missed the goal on the short side. He had Dryden beaten, but he hits the side of the net with a shot. Foster, I can only say here that it is a tremendous feat by Canada if they can kill off this two-man penalty because there is so much ice out there to cover, and the Soviets are putting tremendous pressure on through good puck control.
4-6 in manpower, with the Soviets having a two-man advantage. The puck comes back to Lechko. He lost it as he tried to pass it, and it came right back to center ice. That was an odd one. Puck slides at center. Canada playing 4-6. Petrov moving in on that left side into the corner. Petrov still has it, trying to draw his check and hit a skate. Mihailov, 13 in the corner. He's coming out in front to Lechko. Here's a shot, and the drive was high, bounced off the screen, cleared back to the blue line to Lechko. Out to the far side, back to Lechko. The shot, and drive cleared that one off to the wing. The goalkeeper's lost his stick. He's finally got it, and Canada shoot it down the ice with Harlamov. Cleared it to the Canadian player, Bretel, who shot it down the ice. Soviet coming again. Petrov over the line. Into the corner, centers out to Mihailov. Back to the blue line, a fake shot. He fakes it again. Pass to Lechko. Lechko pulled away when Bergman gets a chance, and another Yakushev missed with his pass. Back to Lechko again. Here's a shot. Wide of the net. Canada have a man back on the ice. They're only one man short. And Dryden went down to cover, so that the Canadian team are only one man short.
Kenny Dryden was under unbelievable pressure there. He went to poke check one of the Soviet players, who pulled his stick out of his hand unintentionally. It went into the corner, and it was Bergman's alert play that got him his stick back, because Dryden was trying to defend that number with a stick in his hand.
5 seconds remaining in the second period. In a torrent struggle here, Canada leading 3-2, but being at the disadvantage many times in this game, playing men short. Petrov ready for the face-off, dropped it, and it's knocked away by Lapointe. The puck goes right down the ice, the siren sounds, and that's the end of a torrent second period of hockey that had just about everything in the book. With the score, Canada 3 and the Soviets 2. This is Game 6 from Moscow. The Soviets are on the ice, but the Canadian team hasn't appeared as yet. There was no scoring in the first period. The Soviets outshot Canada 12-7, and there were 2 penalties to Canada. Bergman and Esposito got a double minor. In the second period, Lyapkin opened the scoring from Yakushev at 1:12 of the second period. 5:13, it was Dennis Hall who tied it up. At 6:21, Cornwallis put the Canadians 1 up. Berenson, I don't think, has officially an assist, but he certainly set the play up. And at 6:36, Henderson scored on a fairly long shot, and Canada led 3-1. Then penalties really crept into the act. And finally, at 17-12, Yakushev brought the Soviets within 1 goal, getting an assist from Shadrin. It's a very interesting point that in the game so far, in the first 2 periods, Canada has had 29 minutes in penalties to only 4 to the Soviets. And the feeling is running extremely high. We hope there will be no incident. But the way the 2 officials are performing, I'm afraid they're getting the fans and the players worked into a fever pitch. But it's been a matter of great handicap to the Canadian team, running, playing short-handed so many times.
We can see there's a look at the backup goalie for the Soviets, Pushkov, and this is his first chance even to sit on the bench in an international hockey game. He's one of their younger goalies, and he's probably seeing a lot of things tonight that he never believed took place in hockey. There's Alexander Yakushev giving their goaltender to screen right, Tretjak, some practice. The Soviets are out on the ice, as are the referees, and they're just sort of skating around, waiting for Team Canada to make their appearance.
With the score, Canada 3 and the Soviets 2. This is Game 6 from Moscow.
The question, Foster, all through that second period intermission is, can Canada hold on to beat the Soviets? My attitude has to be, can Canada in this third period take the game to the Soviets? Go get a couple of more goals. Skate away from them. Don't try to hang on. Because if you hang on over the period of 20 minutes, the Soviets will get to you.
The Canadian team, rather late in coming out, are out on the ice now. And at the moment, Clark is speaking to the referee, who is German. So whether he can speak English or not, I don't know. But from indications, it looks as if he could. Certainly, one of them must have understood English when they heard John Henderson from the boards and handed out a bench penalty. So Canada have 2 men in the penalty box. Red Berenson is going to come out for the face-off. Canada's a man short. That's the misconduct, of course, Clark. And he's a valuable man to be out of the lineup for that length of time. From the face-off, Canada shoots the puck down the ice. The Soviets are to our right, Canada to the left. Now Harlamov cleared over on that right side to Vikolov. Vikolov going in, fell, went after the puck. Dryden played it into the corner. Harlamov centered it out, and Dryden grabbed it with Vikolov standing in front of the Canadian goal.
The first thing that Team Canada has to do at the start of this period, they're going to be short for another 2 minutes and 25 seconds due to that major penalty of 5 minutes to Phil Esposito. They have to get through the penalty first.
From the face-off, the puck is cleared to the side. It's John Ferguson, of course, I was referring to. I don't know how I said John Henderson, but it's John Ferguson, who was the assistant coach for the Canadian team, who was caught saying too much to the referee, and as a result, the bench penalty.
There's a look at a broadcast set up right down at ice level.
From the face-off, the puck is near the Canadian goal. Red Berenson, with the help of Peter Mahovlich, cleared it down the ice. Lecheko going back to get it. Dropped a pass to Harlamov. Harlamov cleared it, and it's intercepted by Berenson. Here's a shot. Tretjak knocked that down with his glove. Vikolov is covered by Berenson, who sticks with him, played it back to the defense, and they shot it down the ice. Canada's still a man short as Lecheko went in front of his net, playing it over to Vikolov. Vikolov at center, going over the line. Still has it, played it back to Lecheko. Out in front to Skankov, and the drive went in back of the net. And Dryden deflected that one, and it was a hard shot.
That was a fantastic save by Ken Dryden, because Skankov, probably the Soviets' most dangerous defenseman when he gets the puck inside your blue line. He has a tremendous shot. He walks right into the key scoring area at the top of the slot and let a high-rising shot go. That Dryden got his glove on, it came back off the screen, and he stopped it on top of the net.
John Ferguson is now sitting down, and he's cooled out quite considerably since that last outburst. Puck is back at center, right back into the Soviet zone, and it's Lutsenko turning for the Soviets. Coming up now with Walshov. Heilemov goes in on the side, passed it back to the blue line. Here's a shot by Lyatkin, and it went wide. Lyatkin had his try, Canada in possession. LaPointe brings it out over the line, taps it back to Savard. Savard rags the puck, still has it. Savard now comes to center. Savard over the line, made the pass to Henderson, and the pass went astray. He and Ellis are out trying to kill off the penalty. The Soviets send 4 men up at center ice. Mihailov goes in on the defense, stopped. Recovered by LaPointe with Savard. Savard turning. Savard turning at center ice. Lobs it over the line. Savard doing great defensive work there with the help of LaPointe. Another long pass on the right side on a change of players. Petrov was unable to get the pass. Coming in on the right side, Berenson will stop. Volchov weaving in on the Canadian defense. Mihailov to Volchov goes wide behind the net. Petrov couldn't recover. Red Berenson shoots it down the ice. Yakushev is coming on for the Soviets. Here's a penalty is up for Canada, and Canada both strikes. The puck is on the far side. Phil Esposito just getting on after serving a major. Soviet returning to center ice. Couldn't get past center. Yakushev was waiting for the pass that didn't come. Shadron over to Anderson, who's pinned against the board. He centered it and comes to this right wing. Dennis Hull down the right side, made the pass to Ardell, and he was knocked over by Vassiliev. A three-man break for the Soviets. One man back. They're right in on goal. And the shot went wide as he planned on him. Another shot went wide as the Soviets stormed to the attack. They jammed to the blue line. Over to the far wing to Lyapkin. A drive and stop that. Vassiliev fired it wide. It's behind the net. Canadian team settled down. Shot it out to center. Dennis Hull to Esposito. Down the right wing to Cournoyer. Centered out in front. No one is there. Pat Stapleton drives it right back into the Soviet zone. Clearing pass. The Soviets shoot it down the ice. And it's called for icing. They have 15:50 left in the third period. Of course, they have a 10-minute change of end after the first 10 minutes. The third period is divided into two 10-minute periods. And the Canadian fans are really whooping it up. Bill White is out there now with Pat Stapleton, Clark, Henderson, and Ellis for the Canadian team. Raglan goes in back to the goal. He's the one that got clipped by Phil Esposito. There doesn't seem to be much wrong with him as he comes up with Malstaff, and he stopped there with the Canadian team really fighting in there. A long shot. Tretjak deflected that one, and the face-off is going to be to the right on the Soviet goal. You hear that Canadian group really hoop it up.
I think this has to be our best offensive line with Bobby Clark at center and Paul Henderson and Ronnie Ellis on the wing.
From the face-off, the puck goes back to the goal. From the corner, a slider goes down the ice, and it's called for icing. And the Soviet team, being hard-pressed by close checking, are not quite as letter perfect with their passing play. There's Gantov, number 7, for the Soviet, one of the strong defense players. A long pass to Mikulov. He's going in on the defense, couldn't control the puck. Henderson tipped it off Clark to center ice. Raglan played it over to Harlamov. Harlamov cleared it back at center. 3-2 for Canada. 14:56 left in the last period as Harlamov was stopped on that far wing by Clark. Puck is to the Soviet line. Zagantov is covered, and he couldn't move it in. Henderson comes in with Ellis right in a goal, and the shot went wide. Great try. Ellis fighting for that puck. Goes back to the net. Henderson waiting in front. Ellis is upset on the play. The forward to Mikulov, to Harlamov on the left wing. He passes out to Raglan. Raglan waits. Back to the blue line to Zagantov. The shot is deflected high up into the crowd, and the reserves go pouring over the board. 14-14 left in the third period. 3-2 for Canada.
There we see Frank Mahovitz behind the Team Canada bench cheering his teammates on in this all-important hockey game.
The face-off is going to be inside the Canadian line. Canada leading 3-2, having scored 3 goals in the second period in 1 minute and 23 seconds. At center ice, the Soviets carry it over the line, but it was a weak effort by Shatilov, who's used sparingly. A roller comes to center ice. Petrov kicked it away, and Savard got it over onto the far wing. They close into the corner, back of the net. It's intercepted by Esposito. Here's a shot, and that drive went wide as Parisi was in front of the net. The Soviets come right back. The pass rolls off the side. Still recovered. Petrov handing it right back to Parisi. He clears to Cournoyer. Over on that left side. A race for the puck, and it went over the line. It's called for icing.
I can't say enough about the work of Serge Savard out there. There is no way that Savard could be in top shape because he missed almost a week. He missed the portion of the trip in Sweden, and he comes out here, and the one thing that he can do so well, and it's so critical to Team Canada, is whenever he's on the ice, he controls the puck and he can slow the play down.
3 minutes and 26 seconds left till the first half of the third period. 3-2, Canada leading. The puck is over on the far side. Dennis Hull failed to clear it out. Lutsenko's pass is intercepted. Rattel cleared to Dennis Hull. It was bumped. Then passes to center ice. Gilbert cutting back. Gilbert laid it over at center. Liapkin intercept. They have 4 men up. A long shot. Dryden caught it. And Dryden has been very steady in this game. Bergman ahead to Gilbert. Over to Dennis Hull. Offside. And there wasn't any doubt about that one. Face-off is going to be at the Canadian blue line. 2:53 remaining of the first half. Dennis Hull, number 10. Canada leading 3-2. On the face-off, the puck comes over to the side. It rolls out to center ice. The Soviet trying to put on pressure at every move. Shadron gets that puck over the line. Passes back to the blue line. Liapkin missed it. It's a result. Canada break out 3 strong with Park going in on the right side and missed on the short side. Lutsenko cleared to the corner. Canada get another chance. A drill shot was deflected to the other side. Yakushev is stopped before he could get out by Rattel. Into Gilbert. Gilbert is bumped against the boards. The Apton had it covered, and the play is stopped. And the face-off is going to be to the left of the Soviet goal. 3-2 for Canada. 2 minutes and 9 seconds remaining. And Gilbert 8. Lutsenko 3 for the Soviets.
Some hard work there by Jean Rattel, checking fiercely, staying on top of the puck, and they finally trap it against the boards.
From the face-off, Clark out there now with Henderson and Ellis. Bill White and Stapleton. Clark fights for that puck. He's grabbed high on the play and falls. Raglan grabbed at him. Then Ellis goes after Raglan. And Bill White is right there, too. Raglan just grabbed Clark and pulled him down.
I can understand Bill White and, of course, the Team Canada players. They are so intense in this game. I can understand them being uptight, being very anxious, being upset about that. But Canada must stay on the ice.
From the face-off, the puck goes into the corner. Raglan held his stick up as Henderson went in to check him. Here's Bill White getting a shot. It rolled right wide of the goal. There's a deflected by Vasilia. Clark trying to dig it out, and it went into the crowd. And the face-off is to the right of Tretjak, with Canada leading 3-2. Harry Sinden is pacing up and down. John Ferguson is still sitting on his chair by the bench at the other end. Ready for the face-off in the Soviet zone. A minute 38 seconds left in the first half of the third period. 11:38 in the total. The puck is kicked over on that far side to Mihailov, and the Canadians recovered by a cleared pass for Noyer, letting us out as Petrov failed to follow through. Down the right side for Cornwallis. Phil Esposito going in on that far side is jammed against the board. Parisi's in there trying to help him out. Phil Esposito to Cornwallis. Cornwallis centers and intercepted. Soviets come right back on the right wing. Bolshov got it to Petrov. Shot! It was knocked off to the wing as the defense are blocking beautifully. Stapleton stopped that one. Now it's Cornwallis going in alone. Went back to the net, tried to bring it up from back of the goal, but was stopped by Shavilov. Another great effort by Cornwallis and referee. Much to the delight of the fans, sat down.
Ivan Cornwallis with a good burst of speed comes in, makes a good move. Notice how he gets the defenseman to close his legs, then he puts the skirt on, goes around and tries to come right around the net and jam it in the far side. Tretjak gets back and traps it against the net.
47 seconds remaining before the first half of this third period. Canada still leading 3-1. There was no score in the first period. Soviets scored first in the second. Canada came back with 3. And then the Soviets got one back before the period ended. The Afghan plays that puck over to Shadron with Anderson, and they're pouring the speed of the Canadian team. It's called for icing. And the Canadian squad are giving it a real top-notch effort here tonight. They've given everything so far and have been the better team.
There's no question, Foster, that Team Canada to this point in the game have played an absolutely perfect hockey game. They've lost their composure at times, but they've collected it, and they're playing sound, solid hockey right now.
From the face-off, Raquel is now at center ice with Peter Mahavlich and Gilbert. At center ice, the Afghan makes a rink-wide pass. Luchenko carries it over the line. Addison had a shot, and Dryden played it off to the wing. Back to the blue line again. That pattern play of the Soviets causing trouble as Savard goes in back of the goal. His prop is stopped, goes after it again, played it on the wing. It's dumped out, but not out again. It hit a skate near the shot. And it went wide, and the siren goes to end the first 10 minutes. The play goes right on because they can't really hear what's going on. With the score, Canada 3 and the Soviets 2. This is Game 6 from Moscow. Change of players. They're starting in on the last 10 minutes of the third period. They changed in. Canada to the right, Soviets to the left. Canada leading 3-2. And the Soviets face-off in the Canadian zone. On the face-off, the puck rolls to the corner. Park out there with Bergman, failed to get out. Bergman now plays it on the boards. Henderson couldn't reach it. Michalov comes from the side. He's taken out of the play. Bergman tapped it out to center ice. Gansloff goes back to get it. Canada intercepts Ellis, playing it over to Clark, who couldn't recover. Again, the Soviet attack, and the pass is knocked down and played out to center ice. Raglan playing it back at center ice. Baltsev is dumped on the play. Harlamov playing it over on that far side. Put himself offside, but the play is knocked out at center, and two Soviets fell together. Michalov going in, failed to get a shot. Hart dumped it into the corner. Raglan covers his check, and they jam each other into the corner.
Ronnie Ellis is a tremendous checker. He stayed right on his man all the way, took him into the boards, pinned Raglan against the boards to stop the play. But Ronnie Ellis, there isn't a better checker in the National Hockey League, and I know that all the opposition teams and coaches and managers respect Ellis's ability in a defensive capacity.
They're changing lines out there. The Soviets pouring speed and fresh material at the Canadians. But the Canadians are hanging in there just as strong as ever. 3-2 for Canada. Petrov got the puck against the board, and it's knocked out there very quickly to center ice. It's shot in again, and is called for icing.
I might mention right now that this is the only game of the 4 games from Moscow that will not be shown again. This is the only time you'll get a chance to see this game. It will not be on tonight.
Parisi's on the left wing. Bill Esposito at center. Bernoyer on the right side. Bill White and Pat Stapleton playing up for the face-off in the Soviet zone. Petrov is facing off for the Soviet. Here's a chance. Here's Parisi's shot knocked down. He's trying it again. Goes in back of the net. Centered it. Intercepted. Mihailov starts down the left wing at center over the line. Weaving a bit. Made the pass to Petrov. The shot. Tried to stop that. A quick pass on the left wing. Goes out to center ice. Mihailov, 13, turning at his own blue line. Stopped, gets turned around, didn't get out, and they go in there with a real battling performance there by Parisi. They jam into the corner. Parisi still fighting it out there. Has that puck, then tried to pass it, still hangs onto it, gets it back to Stapleton, who took the shot and hit a leg. They jam in back of the goal. Vasiliev passed right to the Canadian defenders there, and Parisi shot it in back to the net. Bill Esposito playing it back to the goal, into the corner. Bernoyer tried to center it, and he was stopped there, spearing there with Petrov and Dennis Hull. Here's Dennis Hull getting a chance. He shoots a hot one. And Petrov and Dennis Hull nearly mixing it up again as they spear at each other. This is really the hardest fought game I think I've seen in years.
Foster, I can't believe it. Down on that ice, it's just sheer war. These two teams are going at it. They're not sparing the lumber. They're not sparing the body. It is basically clean hockey, but is it tough down there on the ice? And Team Canada are giving by far, I feel, the best effort so far in this whole series.
7:14 left in the game. 3-2 for Canada. The puck goes to center ice. Savard is out there with a point. They shoot it back into the Soviet zone. Dennis Hull takes over and crossed the line, but they had a man away offside on the play. Gilbert. 7:01 left in the game. 3-2 for Canada. Puck goes back to the Soviet defense. Raglan shot it out to center. It's cleared over the line. Dennis Hull played it on the board, but not out. Riddell failed to get a shot. There's Dennis and Dryden went down low to cover that low drive. Riddell lost the puck. Dennis Hull on the boards is trying to clear it out. He did. The puck is at center ice. Lecheko cleared over into the corner and back to the Canadian net. Dryden shot it over to Dennis Hull, who failed to clear it out. Lecheko to Anderson. Anderson was stopped. Dennis Hull cleared it out. Gilbert over on the far side. And now it's Henderson out there for Canada on a change of players. Soviets trying to get moving with a pattern play. Stopped by Henderson. Henderson played it over on the right wing to Gilbert. Gilbert rags the puck, getting it over on this side. And a shot ahead. Now to Clark, who's on the edge of the Henderson right in. And he failed to get his shot. A long clearing pass. Savard goes over to try to cover. They're still in there. It's loose. Recovered. Shot over on the right side. Ellis tears down that right wing. Couldn't get a shot. Clark covers Lecheko against the boards. And Lyapkin has that puck for the Soviets. Only stopped by Clark to Henderson. Henderson gets ready. It's forced into the corner. Centers it. And it went right across the goal mouth. Bergman flipped it into the corner. Baltsev is trying to bring it out. Clearing it over the line. Lecheko at center. Got it over the line. A shot. Dryden shot that one. From Mikulov. And the speed is terrific and the checking is harder than ever. With the score, Canada 3 and the Soviets 2. This is game 6 from Moscow. Made a brilliant save on that and fell to the ice.
Well, Ellis has scored a lot of goals on that very shot. When Ronnie Ellis breaks out and he gets to the top of that circle, that's when he's starting to get set to shoot. And he almost fooled Tretjak, who only got his pad out there by a fraction.
Complete change of players.
A great effort, a great save.
Ready for the face-off. The puck comes. Here's a shot, and just went wide of the net. From the corner, they jam in there. Puck is held there finally by Precy. He's out there with Esposito and Cornwallis.
With 4 minutes and 52 seconds, puck control becomes all important in the late stages of this game. Canada has to hold on to that puck as much as they can because the Soviets are going to go completely offensive as soon as they take possession.
Already with Petrov and Esposito, a shot over the Canadian line. It goes into the corner. They fall. Petrov slides at the puck. Bergman playing it over on the left side. Reese found an opening. Cornwallis back to Phil Esposito. Phil Esposito going up over the line. Dribbled it into the corner. Precy went after it. Centered it in front. And is knocked back into the corner. 4:25 left in the game. 3-2 for Canada. Precy fighting for it on that far side. It rolls off to the wing. Recovered. Carried over on this left side by Cornwallis. And it went into the crowd when it missed the netting. And the reserves keep pouring out here with 4 minutes and 10 seconds remaining. Canada 3, USSR 2. Now Purcell going out there with Peter Mahovlich and Gilbert. Gilbert and Ellis have been alternating there often, right back and forth there on that wing, getting frequent relief. Puck goes over the line. Rattel rolling in on the defense. Here, right cover. Mahovlich, and he failed to lob it high. Anderson cleared over on the far side to Yakushev. Yakushev is stopped at center ice. Another try with Anderson at center ice. It's still at center. Over the line for Anderson. Speedster. He's stopped by Mahovlich. And Pat Stapleton cleared the puck back in the Soviet zone. Lecheko, number 3, turning with Yakushev on that far wing. Anderson coming in on the right wing. Lost it with a bad drop pass. Mahovlich played it out. Cleared over on that far wing. Bill White goes up into the corner. Center right in front, and a deflected shot hit the side. The Soviets break out at center. Anderson was too far ahead on the pass. Canada bring it out to center ice. Rattel. Yakushev breaking it up. Yakushev got his pass over to Lyapkin. Over to Yakushev. Here's a two-man break in on the Canadian defense. And it's a good checking play there by Clark, who's out there now. Henderson on this wing. Henderson lobbed it over the line. Gilbert is still out there for Canada. He passes back to Stapleton. Stapleton takes his time, lobbed it to center ice. Now Ellis replaces Gilbert. And Ellis bumped into Mikulov right off the bat. Pumped is at the Canadian blue line. Ellis upsets the Soviet player. And there's going to be a holding penalty against Ellis at a very crucial time in the game.
What happened there, Foster? Ellis comes onto the ice. He has to skate the width of the ice to get over onto his position. He hits Mikulov at center ice. He's a little over anxious to catch his winger, and he hangs onto him and he pulls him back, and he takes the penalty.
Ellis for holding at 17:39, and these will be desperate moments for Canada, playing a man short. Score is Canada 3. There's Ellis in the penalty box.
This could be the longest 2 minutes of Ronnie Ellis's life sitting there. He's just in purgatory sitting there, because it's got to be sheer hell to be sitting there watching your teammates out on the ice with 2 minutes and 21 seconds to go, knowing that you only have a 1-goal lead.
3-2 for Canada, and the Soviet having the odd man advantage. Petrov got it back to the blue line. They're getting their pattern play. Lutsenko played it over on the far side. Here's a shot. Wright made a dazzling save on that. Now then, Mahavlik spears down the ice. Here's his shot. And it went wide of the post by inches. The Canadians recover at center ice. They're back to their defense. Peter Mahavlik tapped it back to center ice. Lutsenko ahead at center ice. Mikulov carried it over the line. Dumped the pass. Maltsev going into the corner. Back to the net. Passed it back to the blue line. Then to the corner. And it's stopped by Savard, who shoots it down the ice. And it's called. Just why it's called, I don't know, because they have a man in the penalty box, but they hit him with his glove, apparently. 1:33 left in the game. 3-2 for Canada, and Ellis hardly able to contain himself in the penalty box.
Puck control, Foster, all important. I have to make a comment on that save that Dryden made. It was probably the best save of the night. He got that big pad out there and kicked out a shot that was labeled.
From the face-off, the Soviets get the draw. The shot is wide, and Canada recover off the board, lob it into the Soviet bench. Savard and Lapointe on the Canadian defense. Parisi and Phil Esposito trying to kill off this penalty. And John Ferguson up again now, really applauding. And Harry Sinden pacing back and forth behind the bench. The face-off, a slider comes to Lutsenko to the blue line. Here's a shot. Oh, by Lyapkin, and Dryden got his glove on it. From the side, and it goes right down the ice. 1:13 left in the game. 3-2 for Canada. Lutsenko back to his own net. Played it up to the blue line. Every man up at center ice. Over the line for Lyapkin. Playing it back. Now they're closing in with a pass that goes wide. Lyapkin shoots it back to the net. Soviets right on the puck. Harlamov is stopped by Phil Esposito, who shoots it down the ice. 46 seconds left in the game. Lutsenko clearing over on the side. Coming again. Pass. Gets to the defense. Harlamov centered it. A roller went wide. They jam into the corners, and they shoot it down the ice. Ellis is getting ready to come back on again. The puck is on the far side. Soviets stopped at center by Park. Clark goes after it, keeps on going, centered in front of Clark, and the Canadians gave her full strength. 13 seconds left in the game. 3-2 for Canada. The Canadian fans are going wild as the puck is in the Canadian blue line. Peter Mahavli dragging the puck. 2 seconds, 1 second, and the game is over. And Canada have defeated the Soviets for the second time in the series and get right back into the competition. The Canadian players are in a frenzy, as well as the fans. They're grabbing each other, hugging each other, while the cooled out Soviets are standing by, and now they are going ahead and having the usual handshake. Foster, Canada was 100 cents for the dollar tonight. They matched the Soviets all night, stride for stride, and for 1 minute and 23 seconds, they skated away from the Soviets as they got the 3 goals they needed to win. You can't leave this game without saying what a job that Ken Dryden did. Team played a magnificent game, and he made a save there in the last closing minute that just kept Canada and guaranteed them a win. That's the final score, Canada 3 and the Soviets 2. This is Game 6 from Moscow.
Little Yvonne. I love him. And we chatted about it, and just the two of us sitting in the room. And he says, Boogie. That's what he used to call me in his little broken face. Say, Boogie. Or Woomy. Say, take all the rings. Take all the rings. Nothing better than this. He'd say, that's, yeah, I got that comment firsthand. Yeah. It was a special point in time. It was just a special point in time that I just feel luckier than heck to have been a part of. Just a special point in time. It really was.
Every time I heard Paul Anderson shoot and score, and I still have the chill. I think it's one in a lifetime, and I'm very proud to be in it and to participate, especially on the last goal. I was there on the ice, maybe try to help Paul and Phil, and I think I'm just happy to be a part of Team Canada to represent my country.
We were aware of the support that we were getting because we had 10,000 telegrams that were taped to the hallway to our dressing room. You couldn't see one piece of concrete for all these telegrams. We couldn't have read them all, but these telegrams kept coming and coming, and said more is coming. When we learned the scope of what had happened over here was the next day when we were on our way to Czechoslovakia, because we had to go there to play. Then we found out that the schools were closed down, they were watching the school, the entire country had shut down. But we didn't know it then. We had 2,800 people there that kept going, you know, da, Canada, niet, Soviet, and that 2,800 people sounded like 28 million.
It's Canada. That's what made the difference. When you realized I was representing my country, my birthplace, and that's what international hockey does. International hockey is very, very emotional, much more so than NHL hockey, Stanley Cup. I've never been involved in anything like it. It takes you to another level. It really does.
Well, you're always looking for shared memories. I mean, you're always looking for shared experiences. They don't happen very often, and you're never sure what's going to create one. You don't want it to be an assassination of a president. You might want it to be the first man on the moon. You don't expect it's going to be a goal that ends a series. You can't predict it. You can't know it. And one isn't more important than another. I mean, that because one is a sporting event, and one is a political event, and one is a scientific event, It's not, there's no hierarchies here. It's the event, it's the effect of the event. It's the common experience that counts. It's whatever generates it that counts.
The one great thing is that the memories are even better the longer we move away from the actual September 20th, 1972. They're one of the great things that in my lifetime I'll always remember it, and the mind has a way of remembering the good things, not the bad things, and so I've forgotten about those things. It was great. It was an honor to be selected. It was an honor to play and contribute when and where I could, and it was great to play more, but it was even better to win.
There's a whole new generation that have caught the kind of the interest or the spirit or retaining their heritage or whatever it is that's coming on, and they're writing more and more and talking more and more about it. I mean, there's more and more books, more writing, more tapes, all the things. They want to know more about it.
While we were over there, we had no idea what was like taking place over here in Canada. I remember one long telegram we got from, I think it was the city of Brampton. Geez, it went right down the whole hallway from all the residents of Brampton, I think it was. But when we came back, they told us that, you know, businesses and schools were closed, and I found that hard to believe, you know. And then myself personally, when I arrived in Toronto after City Hall, I came home, and my whole house is all lit up in a great big sign, and a house full of people saying, "Welcome home, Bill."
I remember receiving a telegram in Russia, one telegram with 10,000 names on it. You know, we felt that. We felt for the first time the whole country was behind one team. That was the first time ever. You know, it was always Montreal against Toronto or Detroit or Chicago. That was the first time that all the fans got together behind one team.
It just built itself into its own history and its own life. I think when Henderson scored that last goal, it was there's the jubilation of the goal and the chance to win, but there's also a tremendous relief that, wow, finally it's going to be over and we're going to win.
Now you're probably prouder to be part of it now than you were at the time, because you're seeing the effect it has made on Canada. The youngsters, the players that have come out that I've talked to and played with over the years, guys that have told me they've been 3 or 4 years old and they sat and they watched all the games and they couldn't believe it and they never forgot them. And so today, because of the effect and the pride it gives the Canadian people, you were proud to be part of it. Anyway, you were part of it, just to be a small part of it. And if that's what carries hockey in Canada, then I'm glad we did it. I'm glad we struggled. I'm glad we succeeded. And I'm glad we made Canadian proud of what the series was all about.
It was the Canadian flag. It was the Canadians singing "O Canada." When they sang "O Canada," those 3,000 people, I mean, they drowned out the building. And I found myself singing with, I mean, this is where it's at. And then even today, I mean, people come up to me, and I mean, it's every day. Yesterday at that golf tournament, I don't know how many people come up to me and say, and tell me exactly where they were. And they felt that just intense pride to be Canadians. This was our team. And it didn't say, you know, that it was always, they say, we won. They never said you won. It was we won.
There was not a place we were going through after that series that people were not talking about it, and just see how proud they were us, you know, of us winning that series. That's what I mentioned to you before, that I will not want to think if we will lose that series. I think it will be be pretty bad to live with it.
We knew we were representing, you know, Canada, which is, you know, a big load on your shoulders. You know, it's a thrill to do it. But we didn't want to let Canada down, and we didn't want to let Canada hockey down, you know, where Canada's supposed to be the place where the best players in the world come from, and we wanted to uphold that. I don't know if we could, you know, actually said that, but I know that, that's how we felt.
For a brief moment, everybody was absolutely a Canadian. There was no such thing as I'm an English Canadian or French Canadian or whatever. Everybody was Canadian at that time.
The Russians had reached a peak. I don't think you'll see another Russian team as strong as that one was, that they produced. And Tarasov, the orchestrator of that great team, and the father of Russian hockey. I mean, if I mentioned to, say, Tretьяка about Tarasov, his eyes just lightened because he was the one that really taught the Russian system.
I think 72, for all of the events surrounding it, all the incidents involved, the dramatic way it ended, the great hockey that was played. I mean, I think that's what set it aside as much as anything else from any series or anything competition I've ever been in, is the quality of the games was so high and so good. To end up on the winning side of it made it that, that much more special, and the fact that you beat an opponent who ideologically you were totally in disagreement with as well was, probably makes it, and it does, I shall say, the most important hockey event in my life.
We landed in Montreal and some of us got off, and Pierre-Elliott Trudeau met the plane. And there was a hockey stick I treasured with all the Russian names on it, and certainly all of Team Canada's names. And I carried this stick around faithfully, and I had it in my hand, and Pierre-Elliott Trudeau was there, and Serge grabbed the stick out of my hand, and he said, "Look what Fergie brought for you." And he gave him the stick. And about 3 months later, he sent the stick back to me.
It was done. It was over. We accomplished what we started, and it will never be the same again. That I was definitely sure of. Hockey as we know it would never be the same again after 72. And it never has been.